like to speak about Kinyan HaTorah, Sameach Bchelko. Classically, the translation and the interpretation of Sameach Bchelko is happy with a person's physical, material situation in life. And of course, that's a significant means and necessary midah to have, not to be over-focused, not to be over-involved, not to be busy and connected to chasing after material gains and bettering one's material situation in order to be able to connect with clarity, with confidence, without distraction to the Torah Akdosha. But the Chaim Volozhner says a different interpretation, somewhat of a chidush. Sameach Bchelko, he says, refers to Ruchnius. Sameach Bchelko in Torah and in Ruchnius. And although a person may only have, at this stage, limited amounts of knowledge, small achievements, he has to be Sameach Bchelko. He has to be happy with his lot, with what he has in Torah. And seemingly, this would raise for us a question, because we know that Tanat Ve'Eliyahu says something very strong words. Kol echad ve'echad miYisrael. Every single Jew, every word is exacting in Chazal. Kol echad ve'echad miYisrael. Every single Jew. Chayav loymar mosa yagiu masai l'maisi avoisai. Every single Jew has to be saying to himself, is obligated to ask himself, when will I reach the level of my fathers Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Person has to be constantly yearning, not just for heights, not just for achievements, but the highest of levels. This is the pinnacle. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So much so that we have difficulty even understanding their level. But every single Jew has the obligation to be yearning, Mosa Yogiu, when will my actions reach their level? And yet here we're being told, Sameach Bchelko, be satisfied, be happy with what you have, no matter how little, no matter how small it may be. How do we reconcile this, what seems to be a contradiction? What does it mean, Mosa Yogiu? What's the point? What are we meant to accomplish with that? Why is that so important? Chayav. Chayav is the ultimate obligation. I think possibly the inyan is as follows. We all, most of us, tend to limit ourselves, tend to keep ourselves small and limited, not to reach what we could in our potentials. And I think there are two reasons for this. Firstly, we don't fully believe in the greatness of our potentials. When the Torah discusses the Melechas HaMishkan, the building of the Mishkan, the Torah describes the gifts, the donations, the generosity of Klal Yisrael, and it describes the Melacha, the building and the craftsmanship that was done to create the beautiful Mishkan. And in respect, in reference to the donations that Klal Yisrael gave, the term of the Torah is generally nedivas leiv, the generosity of their hearts. But when the Torah talks about the malacha, the craftsmanship that people gave of themselves to work and develop and create the beautiful Mishkan, the wording is different. Nesa'oi liboy. Kol asher nesa'oi liboy al hamalacha. Anybody whose heart is uplifted to approach this work, and the Ramban comments on this difference of wording. It's not the same as generosity of the heart. This is something else. Because when talking about the Melechas HaMishkan, we're talking about fine craftsmanship, delicate artistic craftsmanship for many, many parts of the Mishkan. And these were people who were slaves, who spent their lives with chomer, with aveinim, with brick, with cement. Where did they have the talent? Where did they develop the ability? Where did they have the knowledge for this kind of craftsmanship? The Melechas HaMishkan. And so that's what the Torah is telling us Nesa'oi libai. They understood this is their mission now, and they said, with an uplifted heart, Vayigba libai b'darkei Hashem. There's a certain gaiva, that there's a certain exalted feeling that is important and correct. It's not a pagam, it's not a fault. It's an important midah. Vayigba libai b'darkei Hashem. A person has to sometimes feel a lifted heart, an exalted heart, believing in the abilities and the powers that he has been given, even if he hasn't used them yet, and even if he hasn't found them yet. If he's given a mission, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mission, Vayigba libai, and that's what they did. They said, this is a job that needs to be done. We can do it. We can believe in our greatness and approach this malacha nesai libai, el ha-malacha. And as I heard from Rav Wolbe, he said, he quoted, the Kadmonim, our rabbis have taught us that every Jew has within him incredible potentials. All the madregas of Kedusha, that's where his words, all the madregas of holiness, every Jew has within his heart, and we all receive that and embedded in our hearts at Har Sinai. But we don't always bring out those potentials, those well springs of strengths and talents of spirituality and holiness. In order to do so, we have to believe in our greatness. We have to know that we have a mission in life, and we have a greatness of potentials of holiness and of Torah that we're not aware of. And if we believe enough in ourselves and we approach our mission, we can find and realize those potentials. That's one of the reasons why we remain small. We don't believe in ourselves enough, and we don't have that exalted heart. We can do it, and we have these strengths. And the second is a lack of aspiration. We don't aspire for greatness. We're complacent, and we satisfy ourselves with smallness. In order to reach greatness, in order to realize the potentials within us, there has to be a deep yearning for greatness. And if we yearn for small levels, we'll achieve a fraction of those small levels. But if we yearn for the greatest of levels, and we're driven to the heights with a belief and a yearning, we can realize the greatest levels and achieve and bring out from our potentials true greatness, true levels of Kedusha and Torah. That's Masa Yagiu Maisa Lamaisa Aboisai. But at the same time, with the yearning and with the believing in ourselves, with the yearning that we can reach and achieve great levels of Torah, great levels of Kedusha, a person has to know that in order to reach that, it has to be a step-by-step gradual process. One cannot jump. One cannot jump to levels that he's not ready for. One cannot jump to embark upon steps and levels that he's not holding by. As the Goin says in Mishlei, the Gra Mivilna says in Mishlei, Otz biraglayim choite. Somebody who's impulsive in his ascent, with his legs, in his climb, is choite, will slip, will fall, and remain empty. Choite, he says, we find elsewhere in the Mikra, in the Pasuk, means choser. Choser. A person with all the yearning and with all the conviction, if he jumps to levels where he's not ready, if he skips steps that aren't those that are before him, he will fall like somebody trying to jump up a ladder. You have to take each rung by itself, step by step, so that you have each step with confidence, with security, with stability. But if you try to jump and skip steps, ultimately you'll fall. So on one hand, we have to yearn for greatness. We have to believe in our abilities. We have to set our sights not small and not limit ourselves. Know that we have great potentials, but in embarking upon that ascent, it has to be step by step. No skipping, no jumping. Understand honestly where we're standing now. We believe in reaching the highest of heights, but now this is where we're at, and this is the step that's right for us. And take it calmly, gradually, with the yearning, step by step. But not only do we need to approach are derech aliyah behadraga, gradually and step by step, take those steps, it has to be Semeach Bchelko. We have to be happy with those steps. We have to appreciate each step in of its own. And that's sometimes a challenge. We don't want to be small. We don't want to settle and be complacent. That's not what this means. Be complacent and be satisfied with less. That's not what this means. We are not allowed to be satisfied with less. We have to yearn for much, much more. But we approach it step by step. At the same time that we're yearning for so much more and understanding, step by step, you have to be happy with the steps. You have to appreciate each step of its own. And sometimes when we're yearning for more and we know, okay, we have to take this step, but this step doesn't satisfy me and it's not so meaningful for me, it's just a little bit. I have to do it this way, but I'm really not where I want to be. And I'll do it step by step, but I'm not pleased, I'm not happy, I'm not enjoying the step. It's not enough. Kinyan HaTorah is Sameach Bchelko. You have to enjoy and appreciate each step. Value the greatness of the smallest step one takes. Changing a midah, like Rabbi Yisrael Salanter says. It's one of the most difficult things that can be. A small step of change is significant, is powerful and meaningful. And every word of Torah, every achievement, an understanding of one sentence, an understanding of one thought, we have to know what that is. We have to appreciate its beauty. The Chavetz Chaim writes in his Hagdama, he has a Sefer Kitzer Sefer HaMitzvahs, a shortened version of the mitzvahs that are relevant to us today. And he has a very, very beautiful and a special Hagdama there. And he discusses the Chazal. The Chazal talk about the Pasuk in Tehillim, Asher Ish Yoreis Hashem. The Pasuk says, B'mitzvoisav chafetz me'od. Fortunate is the person who fears Hashem, who has great desire, much desire for the mitzvahs. B'mitzvoisav chafetz me'od, much desire for the mitzvahs. And the Gemara says, B'mitzvoisav v'loi b'schar mitzvoisav. The Yarchei Hashem has this much desire, this chafetz me'od, for the mitzvahs, not for the reward that comes for the mitzvahs. And the Chavetz Chaim says this is very difficult to understand. Just a little bit of a glimpse of what the schar of mitzvahs are, he says. The Mishnah tells us, the Mishnah says, one moment of satisfaction, of enjoyment in the world to come, of the ecstasy, one moment of the ecstasy of the world to come is greater than all of Chai Olam Hazeh. What does it mean, greater than all the life in this world? He says it means if you take all the pleasures that were ever experienced in the physical, in this world, from the beginning of time until the end, all the pleasures that were ever experienced through the greatest kings, through the princes, through the most wealthy people in the world, all the experiences, all the physical pleasures that ever were experienced, and you put them all together, they don't reach the pleasure and joy and satisfaction that a person will have for one moment of the schar and olam haba. Imagine what unbelievable pleasure, what unbelievable joy is the moment of olam haba. And that's the schar of mitzvahs. So how do the Chazal tell us that the Yarei Shamayim wants only the mitzvah and doesn't desire the schar of mitzvahs? So we know a person shouldn't serve Hashem only for the reward, but it doesn't say that he shouldn't desire or appreciate getting that reward. So what does it mean when Chazal tell us the mitzvahs of chafetz me'od? They want the mitzvahs, but not the schar mitzvahs. How do you, and why wouldn't you want the schar of mitzvahs? Chavetz Chaim says something very powerful. He says, chafetz me'od. David HaMelech says, chafetz me'od. Much, desires much. Me'od, he says, that word, when it's used in the pasuk, means b'li shir u b'li gvul. Without limit, without boundaries. And what David HaMelech says, do you know how much that tzaddik, the Yarei Shamayim, yearns for a mitzvah? Me'od. He has unbelievable yearning. He has unlimited yearning and desire for the mitzvah. The mitzvah itself brings such connection and closeness. But like the schar mitzvahs, they want them schar. Why shouldn't somebody want the schar? They want the schar also. But the desire and yearning for the mitzvah that is the level of ma'oid, limitless, that's the mitzvah. Even more and much more than the schar is that yearning for the connection a yid has b'shas mitzvah. And if we talk about one mitzvah, is that way for a tzaddik? B'mitzvahs of all the mitzvahs, the Taryag mitzvahs, 613 mitzvahs are the means with which we connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu in all of the aspects of our being. We have 613 parts to our being, our body and our being. Every aspect of us, of our being, can connect in this way to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through a mitzvah in a way that the person who understands what a mitzvah has this limitless yearning. That's mitzvahs. And Chazal tell us, and what's Torah? That's mitzvahs. What's Torah? We all know the Mishnah in Peah. We all say it every day. The Mishnah says, Helu dvarim shein lam shir. The Talmud Torah keneged kulam. One of the Mefarshim of the Mishnah brings the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi says, the pasuk says, "V'chol chafotzecha lo yishvu ba." Chafotzecha is the mitzvahs. Ba'ele chafatzti nu Hashem. Those are the dear items of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chafotzecha. Those your items that are so dear to you. Kol chafotzecha lo yishvu ba. Will not come and equal it. Says the Yerushalmi. Afilu kol mitzvayseha einon shavais ledavar echad mehatorah. Make the calculation yourselves. Any mitzvah, chafetz ma'oid, that connection, that spirituality. The Yarchei Shamayim recognizes any one mitzvah is a yearning that's without limit. Take all the mitzvahs together. Doesn't yet reach the level of one word of Torah. The power of spirituality of one word. The power of elevation that one can reach through a word of Torah. The power that the word affects him and the world and all the worlds. One word, more than all the mitzvahs. First, let's understand what all the mitzvahs are. Chafetz ma'oid, and one word of Torah. So it's true, we yearn to know Kallah Torah Kula. We yearn to reach everything, to understand every Gemara, to understand every Tosfos, to know more and more and more and more, and we don't want to be complacent, and we don't want to be satisfied with being small, and we believe we can do it with yearning and step by step. But let's not lose the appreciation of every step. Sameach Bchelko, every step of Torah. It's not just a rung on the ladder that we have to get past to reach where we want to reach. We're not satisfied. At the same time, as we experience that step, it's beli gvul ubeli tachlis. Any word of Torah is enveloping us with such powerful kedusha, as we spoke about last year. Any word of Torah is enveloping us with such spirituality, elevating us even more than all the mitzvahs do, and all the mitzvahs, Taryag mitzvahs, ein the shire, ein the tire. So every step, at the same time as we're yearning for so much more, every step we have to live and appreciate and love. Only such can the step be meaningful to us, can the step be a kinyan ha-Torah, that we truly acquire, that we truly internalize, and that we truly connect, and only with that can this step be one that we can go further with. If we're yearning and taking this step without appreciating it and loving it and being excited with it, we can't really ascend on that ladder with the way that we need to. Every step can be beautiful and meaningful and endless in its greatness. Sameach Bchelko. We say in davening, Kihem chayenu v'oirach yameinu. It's our life, and it's the length of our days. And as the Mefarshim say, the length of our days, what does that mean? It doesn't mean how long a person lives. That's oirach yomim. That's Shnois Chaim. Oirech Yomeinu means our days are long. The Torah makes our days long. It gives us, it's our life, and it makes our days long. Now, we're used to thinking, when is a day long? When it's torture, when it's difficult, when every moment we're suffering through. If we're really enjoying what we're doing, so what we're used to saying is, time flies when you're having fun. So here we're talking about the shevach, the praise, the love of the Torah that we have. So we say, Kihem Chayenu, our whole life is Torah. Baruch Yameinu. But the days are so long. We're obviously talking about the beauty of the Torah. So why is it that the Torah makes our days long if it's so beautiful? And I think the answer is, this concept of time flies when you're having fun is a fallacy. It's a way of not living, not a way of living. And I think the root of that fallacy that we all unfortunately experience is because we're so busy when we have fun, waiting for the next minute of fun. So we don't really fully experience this minute. Why is it when we're suffering, lo yaleinu, it's endless? Because we live every moment to the nth degree. But when we're having a great time, we're so busy having a great time, we keep thinking about the next minute, and we don't really fully live this minute. So it goes fast. That's a fallacy. That's not living. When we were children, there was this yid in the shul that we would watch Kiddush time. At the time, we thought it was cute. It was comical. As I got older, I understood how tragic it was in of its own and what it was a testimony of. There was a yid, a Pashta yid, who loved cholent. He loved eating cholent. So whenever there was a Kiddush, he was right there. He was middle-aged. He wasn't a poor man. And he ate cholent, unbelievable amount of cholent. So we would watch him. But not only did he eat the cholent, he set himself up next to the platter, the public platter, right in front, put his plate adjacent, exactly next to the platter, and he would put food, take the cholent onto his plate from the platter, and eat from the cholent, staring at the platter, waiting to add more, staring at the platter. We thought it was comical, but the fact is this Yid Nebuch was a Holocaust survivor, and I think this was the effects of the Holocaust. But in thinking about it, he couldn't have possibly enjoyed every spoonful of his cholent because he was so busy waiting and worrying about the next spoon that he's going to get. He wasn't really connecting to what he was doing that moment. That's our problem. But the person who appreciates every word of Torah, he can yearn and needs to yearn for more. Then every moment we live to the nth degree. It's so beautiful. One pirush, one understanding, one translation, one small concept is worlds of power, worlds of beauty, worlds of elevation, more than all the mitzvahs. And if we stop and experience that beauty, Semeach Bchelko, not only are we really internalizing that level and can stand upon that to ascend further, we're living a full life, and our moments are full and real. The moment, the step, that brings us to a different level of simchas hachayim and avos haTorah, and only with that can we achieve while we're yearning for more and not being complacent. They have to be hand in hand. And this kinyan, this midah of Semeach Bchelko, not only is it the means of growth, of ascending on the ladder together with the yearning for greatness, and not only is it the means for Torah being oirech yameinu, our days are full, our experiences are full, and our time is well springs of meaning every moment. It also is a wonderful tool of opening up our hearts to appreciating HaKadosh Baruch Hu and reach Avas Hashem. There's a very wise and helpful comment that the Piasetzner Rebbe describes, gives in his Sefer Achshoras Avrechim. He wrote Chayvas HaTalmidim and Achshoras Avrechim. And he writes there something very, very, very important, very, very helpful. He says, the nature of people is that when a lot of good things happen to us in our day, a lot of positive experiences happen while we're learning, something Hakadosh Baruch Hu does for us. We have a positive experience, we have a good feeling, we have a certain spark of enjoyment in our Torah, in our tefillah, in our interactions. We hear something, we see something, we experience something. They happen. What the problem is that they dissipate because we just go on. We just go on. We have a moment of something special, and we're busy going on to the next thing. When it comes to pain or insult or injury, it's just the opposite. If somebody hurts us or insults, we experience something negative. Somebody did something we're not happy with. Somebody insulted us. So what happens is, it doesn't dissipate. If we would do the same thing that we do with the good for the bad, we just move on. Okay, it was hurtful, so forget it. Let's go on. I have something else to be busy with. I have something else to involve my mind and actions into. Let's just go on. Then that pain and that hurt would dissipate. But we don't do that. We stop. We focus on it. We review it. We rethink it. We play back the whole scene in our minds and our hearts. His facial expressions, his voice inflections, how he did it, why he did it, what was behind it, and we delve into it and we review it and we go until that little spark turns into this blazing fire of anger, and we're angry and have sinah towards this person. If we just leave it, go on, it'll pass. We don't. We have to switch, says the P.S. Etzner. Negative things, problematic things, hurtful things, it's a spark of pain. Go on. Move on to the next thing. Leave it. It'll pass. But when it comes to the positive experiences in our life, do the opposite. Stop. Savor it. Think about it. Review it. Try to re-experience it. So the spark becomes into a blazing excitement of love and appreciation for what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us. And it's the same thing in learning. Sometimes we're learning, we understand something. That was special. Okay, we got to go on. The next choice, the next Rashi, the next piece of Gemara. We got to go on. We do have to go on. We keep going. But a moment, stop. That was special. That was beautiful. This is the wisdom of Hashem. This is the spirituality. Something happens in davening. It's a long davening. We had a moment of inspiration. We have to go on. Don't go on. Stop for a second. Savor it. Look at it. Review it. Semeach Bchelko. Not only will we internalize that experience, not only will we use that as a stepping stone for more, but we'll appreciate and reach a different level of Avas Hashem and Avas HaTorah. Kadosh Baruch Hu should help us keep the right balance of aliyah, of growth and ascent in Torah and Avodas Hashem. And the right balance is two things that seem different, seem opposing, but aren't. Yearning, believing, planning and hoping that we'll get further and further, but at the same time, step by step, and a simcha in each step, appreciating, valuing each step, knowing that not only do I have to take it gradually, but every single step of Torah is beautiful, is powerful, is meaningful, will be kind of that, will internalize that will help us reach the madregas, ha-madregas of Torah and Kedusha and Aliyah. We should all be zoiche to be mibnei ha-aliyah ha-muatim. All of you have come here to search for more, to seek for more, to reach more. Let's not be those who, we've come here, so we've got it, and we're done. Let's continue searching, continue yearning, continue aspiring and believing how much more we can achieve, knowing it step by step with a simcha. And we should all be zoiche to ni and continue to be b'bnei aliyah muatim, to be oile madrega and madrega of kirvas Hashem, mikdei simcha and nachas, to be simcha and nachas for ourselves, simcha and nachas for our Kodesh Baruch Hu, and simcha and nachas for all of Klal Yisrael. Amen.